Well, good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are, folks. Thanks ever so much for being with us here on M1 Racing for another round of the G-Force Racing Elite League. Coming to you live, this time from Imola, but more about that in just a moment. Got David T and Obo in the chat. David T, thank you ever so much for resubscribing to M1 Racing. Very, very much appreciate that. We'll talk a little bit more about subscriptions a little bit later on. But some of you will know that if you come and subscribe to us here on M1 Racing, you will get some special treats, including our brand new Hannes Reset to Track emote, which you'll see flashing away on my response to David there. The events from previous seasons live strong with G-Force Racing and M1 Racing. Obo, thank you ever so much. That is amazing. Really appreciate it, guys. It really does mean a great deal. So a quick recap. From last week we had round 1 of season 3 of G-Force Racing Elite League. David T making full advantage of the Hannes resets and Obo. That's brilliant. We should be raiding with Hannes emotes, I think. So last week we had round 1 of season 3, and what a great start to this new season it was. M1 Righty kept up their winning form, carrying that over from season 2, championship victor from last season, coming home with a win and the fastest lap in Spain. But then we had Mac T, now driving for Mercedes. They finished in second. And Charlie Ark, one of the newer drivers to the G-Force Racing League, gave a great performance, was leading the race at various different points, really put M1 Righty under a lot of pressure throughout the race, but it was M1 Righty that came home to win. Our league owner SS7 finished 4th. One of the newer drivers, Goat Ghosty, finished 5th. Goat has some pace. We're going to watch out for Goat driving for Alpine alongside their teammate M1 Righty. What Goat Ghosty had SHS Predestinato's shoes to fill, and boy did they fill them well. Decivest finished in 6th. We're driving now for Williams. Then Spicy came home in 7th. Obo, who's with us here in the chat, although getting ready to get out on track very, very shortly, as you'll see from the lobby. They finished 8th last week, now driving for Ferrari. Emelecki now with Williams. I can't get my head out of Emelecki driving for Aston Martin, but seeing them in the blue Williams will look good to the Williams team, and they've got a great partnership with Decivest there. M. Dorling had a bit of a tough race last week, finishing there in 10th, getting caught out on lap 1, turn 1. Obo making full use of my customised emotes. Thank you, guys. And then we had our DNFs. Lost, Nico Hulkenberg and Blip. Oh no, I do apologise to Lost, Nico Hulkenberg and Blip. They did actually finish. It was El Alex that DNF'd, our only DNF from last week. We nearly had a race with no DNFs, which is a rare occurrence. I think it has happened before, but it's quite rare. You can see a replay from Spain in the top right corner of your screen, folks, and you'll see the live lobby in the bottom right corner of your screen. We are just waiting for our drivers to come on board. I think we're going to have quite a full grid tonight if the register for this evening is anything to go by. And as you can see, we are going to be in Imola. David T hopes it's going to rain. And do you know what? We'll talk about that. Why don't we go there right now? So I'm going to change the feed from last week. Let me bring up the replay from Imola. This was an absolutely epic race. The drama happened right at the end. J Repo was leading the way pretty comfortably for the whole race. We had safety cars. We had literally a safety car on the first corner on the first lap. J Repo led the way, but then in the latter stages of the race, the rain came down and J Repo decided to stay out on old hard tyres. Lost it on the exit of Acqua Minerale about 2 or 3 laps from the end, and that let SS7 through to take victory, their second victory in a row, in the early stages of Season 1. This was just a cracking race, and Imola always throws up some surprises. So we're looking forward to something very, very similar this time around, and very likely some rain. We shall see. Now this week I kind of am on my own almost. Unfortunately Toby and Rio can't be with me in the commentary box, but Pete is here, so we've migrated to the smaller mobile commentary box this week. So you're just going to get my dulcet tones for the next hour or so as I take you through all the action from round 2 of GeForce Racing Elite League from Imola in Italy. So really looking forward to this one. I've got the race results here from last time out in Imola. So SS7 took victory and fastest lap. MVR came home in second in the end, just crawling over the line on those very slippery hard tyres. Emelecki finished third that day, was up on the podium. El Alex in fourth. Domo Pierce, so we missed Domo. They had a good partnership with Emelecki for a big chunk of Season 1. Mr. Hannes, one of the earlier members of the league, finished in sixth, driving for Haas. Then Wands in 7th for Aston Martin. It's Cameron, which we have lost his Cameron about midway through Season 1. And our very own Baggysaurus was out driving for AlphaTauri that day. Unfortunately DNF'd, as did my other fellow co-commentator, ace pilot Toby. They had a pretty tough day in Imola. And Imola's quite unforgiving. If you go off track round Imola, it's pretty tough to get back on. So we're looking forward to something very, very similar this time around. Just got my eye on the lobby just to make sure we do not miss Ready Up, and we'll get in there. So driver standings right now, pretty as much as you'd expect with M1 winning that first race. Yeah, Obo, if you do DNF, come and join me. You may need to ask SS7 to give you access to the commentary VC, but you'd be very welcome to pop in here and have a chat with me. That would be amazing. But I'd rather you don't DNF, so go out there and get a good result for Ferrari. So Maxi is his second in the championship, Charlie Ark top 3. Constructors wise, Alpine, good strong start from them. Mercedes also. We're going to watch out for this Mercedes team. Maxi and SS7. They're going to be ones to watch, I think, this time around. Red Bull should have, I'm just looking at we have a full Red Bull team out tonight. So Charlie Ark, who got that great result in Spain last week, I think slightly disappointed they finished third, but I thought they drove really well. And they've got their teammate and team principal, Mr. Hannes, back this week. Let's watch out for those reset to track. But Mr. Hannes is out this week. And then Williams currently in fourth in the constructors right now. So good luck to all of our drivers. We've got, how many have we got in the lobby so far? It's about 14 or so. Maybe one or two more to come. Let me fast forward the replay here, folks, if we've got time before we have to play the intro. I'll try and find where the rain had come down. Go and watch the replay if you can. It's on our YouTube channel. Twitch takes them off after about 6 or 7 shows, but we put all of them on our YouTube channel, and they're all worth a watch. I'm just scanning through here. We're right towards the end. Yeah, we're on lap 30 here of 32. You can see the track is damp. SS7 is still on their medium tyres. MVR had stayed out on their hards. Then it started to get an awful lot heavier. Let me just move it on a little bit. Just moved it forward, so we're still on lap 30, riding on board with Emelecki here, driving for McLaren back then. And there is SS7, but here's MVR who stays out here. And looks like we're readying up, folks. So we might come back to this after the race. I'd love to share that with you. We're going to go live with round 2 of GeForce Racing Elite League from Imola. Stay right there, we'll be with you very shortly. Now we've got 3 cars wide. And Maxi's trying to get down the inside of him, Dorling. They're going to do it. Great switch back from him, one there. All right, folks, let's go racing. Well, welcome back, folks. We are just waiting for the game to load here into Italy. And we do have our 14 drivers out there. So not quite a full grid, but plenty enough to give us some great action out there on track. And we've got some really good close racing to come. So we are at Imola, one of the greatest circuits, in my opinion, in the F1 calendar. It gave us some great racing in season 1, crikey, 2 seasons ago. It was only our second ever live commentary, so if you're with us still from back then, thank you ever so much for sticking with us, and I hope you won't be disappointed today. The Imola track, 4.9 kilometres long. It's got 19 corners, just the one DRS zone, but it's super powerful past the main start-finish straight. We'll see a lot of overtaking into turn 2. Then also into turn 7, the first of the well, they're pretty much the only hairpin here in Imola. Then into turn 17 and potentially into the Variante outer chicane, turns 14 and 15. So we've got some drivers just heading out onto track. Now, of course, Mr. Hannes hasn't been with us for a while, so it's about time we check that the detector is working, and it is. It is working. That's good. Okay, so that's all there. Now, we may actually need it for Jay, or Lost if Jay were to be with us. So it is in reserve for Jay, just when they return, because they got caught out in Spain last week resetting to track. And if those of you who don't know, resetting to track is not permitted in the G-Force Racing Elite League. It's an unfair advantage compared to other drivers who make their own way back onto the track. They will get a qualification ban if they're caught doing that. But Mr. Hannes is warming up their tyres, ready for a new lap. I'm hoping that the little tweaks we made to the stream images and footage are coming across well to you guys. We've tried to up the resolution and the stability a little bit, so hopefully it's going to be a better viewing experience, as well as us watching some amazing racing here. We are going to ride on board with Mr. Hannes for our first flying lap of Imola. We've got 15 minutes to get a good time in here, and we're flying down the main start-finish straight. Not really a straight, a sequence of curves. Car getting out of our way on the left-hand side, thank you to them. Through turns 2 and 3, then 4. Accelerating as we go. Down into the second chicane here. Bit of a lift. And then into the hairpin, braking just after 50 metres for Mr. Hannes, getting a late apex, back on the throttle, up the hill. Full power here. We'll see how Mr. Hannes takes the next corner here, turn 9 I believe that is. Then down the hill into 10. And then the fabulous Aqua Minerale flat out for Mr. Hannes through that first corner. Right over those curves, not too much, don't want to unsettle the car on the way out. Then the last of the chicanes, the Variante outer. Big chunk of curve by Mr. Hannes, trying to straighten up this corner as much as they can. Took it pretty well. Heading down towards finishing our first flying lap. Very wide on the curbs there, trying to make as much use of the circuit as they can. Back on the power, we're going to come over the line to set a time of 1:14.497, the fastest lap of qualifying so far. So Mr. Hannes on provisional pole with their teammate Charlie Ark having set a time. I'm going to Mr. Hannes taking a look at the gravel trap there. That is one way to get across that corner. Let's just bring up our tyres. So Miss Charlie Ark just taking a cruise, I think, for that first lap. Let's get down to Decives here, who is on a flyer. Driving for Williams. New driver to the league in Season 2, but gradually improving. And maybe have invalidated there. So Decives not getting a time just yet. We'll go down to M. Dorling for Ferrari, having switched with their teammate Obo from Alfa Romeo to Ferrari for Season 3. I think this colour red must suit M. Dorling and Obo well. This is M. Dorling on a flying lap, coming at the top of the hill now, cascading down through the Italian countryside. Those two drivers, thank you guys, getting out of the way on the left-hand side. Very considerate driving from those two. M. Dorling now coming down into the chicane. Turns 14 and 15 here. Back on the power. Heading down to turn 16 in now, 17. Misses the apex there of 17 through 18. We're coming around the final corner of 19 over the start-finish line for a time of 1:15.322. M. Dorling saying in the driver's chat beforehand they haven't had much time to do any practice. Was predicting about a 1:15, so not too bad a time. Charlie Ark has got a better time in than their teammates. So Charlie Ark is provisional pole at the moment, 1:14.148. Obo just coming around now to finish their first flying lap. So M. Dorling's teammate here for Ferrari. The Ferrari boys having a little bit of a struggle last week, but Obo setting a better time than their teammate with a 1:14.831. So good work from Obo. SS7 has got a lap time in, 1:27.121, but they will need to do an awful lot better. I've got Spicy in the chat. Unfortunately, Spicy is not out racing with us today, but I'm glad you could be here with us, at least for a moment, Spicy, on the stream. Thanks for being here. Let us know if you'll be back out next week. We hope you will be. Down to Imola. So Ghosty and Timmy have at least put one lap in on their tyres. Imola did, I think, go beyond track limits there, so they've backed out of that one. Mac T has set a time 1:14.567. Let's get down to Roadrunner. So completely brand new Alfa Romeo team for us this season. Timmy 2009 Roadrunner 21753. Very much welcome to those two to the G-Force Racing Elite League. I've heard good things about both drivers, so we'll be intrigued to see how they go here. Roadrunner yet to set a lap yet, but they are on one here. Coming out of these final corners here, you'll see a number of drivers get a couple of wheels on the gravel on the exit of turn 18 there. Roadrunner, good time, 1:14.222. As we get a break up in the stream there, folks. Apologies for that. And Timmy is yet to set a time, so I think struggling with track limits for Timmy. Yeah, really struggling to get their car sorted out there. We have some drivers yet to set a time, so Imolecki, Goat Ghosty, Timmy, F1 Lewis, Diaz, and NRG Panzerotto, all yet to set a time. So a bit of a struggle for some of our drivers at this point. Obviously, some of them not yet been out. Some will be leaving it to the last minute. So Charlie Ark leads the way at the moment, provisional pole with a 1:14.148. Diaz is out on a hot lap, brand new team for Aston Martin in Season 3. We really don't know much about Diaz or F1 Lewis. They joined the league at the same time. I believe the two of them do know each other, so it's good to have a team actually come and join us here. And they'll be working together through the races to try and get Aston Martin and themselves as many points as possible. Very close between the Aston and NRG Panzerotto, it would seem. So sorting themselves out as they get ready for a flying lap. I think Imolecki has stayed out at this point, so hoping to at least hook up one lap. And track limits, folks, is going to play a big factor in today's race. Imola is incredibly unforgiving, and any breach of that, so getting all four wheels over the white lines on the edge of the track, it will invalidate lap times during qualifying, and it will also pick up track limit warnings throughout the race. If you do it 3 times in the race, you will get a 3-second time penalty, and it's cumulative. So if you keep collecting those penalties, it's going to have a significant impact on the end of your race. And I can guarantee you that Pete and I will have our calculators out at the end of this, trying to work out where everyone's going to finish. There may be a record set this week for the most number of track limit penalties. So we're on board here with DS trying to set their first flying lap. Brand new set of red-walled soft tyres. Really throwing the Aston into those 2 corners of 5 and 6. Through turn 7 up the hill. And their teammate M1 Lewis is leaving it literally to the last minute. The observant ones amongst you will note that M1 Righty is not out racing with us today. They can't be here with us this week, which really opens up the championship in these early stages. Others can get close to M1 very early on, and that will keep M1 honest for the rest of this season. So DS hopefully has stayed within track limits so far. They've got a Mercedes in front of them that I think is potentially compromising their lap here. Or they will get a nice tow. As DS79 sets the time 1:14.698. NRG Panzerotto, wow, 1:13.993 for the Alpha Tauri driver. NRG Panzerotto we have not seen, I don't think, since Abu Dhabi. So that is an incredible lap from NRG Panzerotto, who had a cracking round in Qatar. So carrying on that form here into Season 3. Brilliant lap by NRG. DS79 has got a lap time on the board. So has Timmy now with a 1:19.870. Emiliki's on another out lap. Ghosty is on a lap now, so they have yet to set a time. And Imola's not easy to overtake on, so drivers will be hoping for a good starting position, which at least they could fight to hold on for during the race itself. So on board with Ghosty here, had a strong outing in Spain last week, was certainly on for a podium. We head down towards the final corners of the lap. Obviously it's the first lap for the Alpine driver here, so all green sectors on my timing screen. Ghosty takes provisional 4th with the 1:14.318, very close at the top for sure, only about half a second separating 1st down to 6th at the moment. Roadrunner is back out on another lap. I don't want to give F1 Lewis, looks as though they are staying in the pits, so leaving it to the very last minute. Leckie has got to get a time in here. Over the big sausage curbs at the chicane. And Lecky's backed out of that one too, so I think maybe they're going to go one more time. Leckie leaving it pretty late. We've got 5 minutes of qualifying left to go. Leckie pulling over to the side, I suspect, just to see if another car's coming past. Indeed, there comes a Mercedes. So let's go up, see if we can see anybody else on a lap. Timmy is trying to find their way around, so let's go back to Leckie, who is starting again. So they've got a time on the board, at least a 1:31.329. SS7 has got a time of 1:14.651. They are just starting a new lap. No, it's just coming in, sorry. So SS7 is in, having improved. So Leckie trying to navigate their way around and onto the curves, and that will be Leckie invalidated one more time. I wonder if they can hang on to those tyres for one more lap. It's going to be a struggle to get back round and back out again. Let's bring up the mini-map and our lap data, because we're coming right to the end of qualifying here. Roadrunner is... No, they have not Oh, yeah. And that was Timmy finding the barriers. That was a very unfortunate time for me to navigate to Timmy. So Timmy is out of qualifying. The game should just clear them out the way. And Pete's confirmed they have cleared. So all of our drivers in the pits literally waiting for the last opportunity. We'll see what Imola decides to do. Will they go in and back out again? Have they got enough time to do that? Or will they try and put one big push in? They are staying out. So Imola has to make this one work. Mr. Hannes is the first of the other drivers to get back out on track. It's going to get very busy here, folks, for the end of qualifying. Just the 3 minutes left to go. Imola has got to put in a much better time. And we know Imola is a faster driver than most. And Imola lost it. They have really been struggling here. And that has really shown there. So Imola is going to be starting at least 13th, it would seem. If M1 Lewis does come out, we have not seen F1 Lewis out on track yet. So Em Dorling I'm following with at the moment. Em Dorling was our most improved driver of season 2, picking up a couple of podiums and an awful lot of points last season. And I think we've got high hopes for them and for their teammate Obo, but clearly not their track so far based on their early times. Let's get up. We did spend a little bit of time with Decives earlier. I'm going to stay with Decives for the moment. They have SS7 just ahead of them, but they're getting out of the way of fast approaching cars. There is Decives, who is just coming around to the hairpin at the back of the circuit. All right, Mr. Hannes is on a lap. So they've got 1:14.497 is the time to beat. Imola is into the pits. That is Imola out of qualifying. F1 Lewis is not out. I think they are going to run out of time here. We'll be starting at the back of the grid. So Mr. Hannes here trying to improve in Sector 1. They are 0.02 of a second up. So a slight improvement for Mr. Hannes. There's Mercedes ducking out of the way. SS7 is on a hot lap. That will be Mac T. Pete's rightly said it's a very busy track. You can see that from all the dots circulating in the bottom right corner of our screen. So Mr. Hannes coming through Sector 2, through Acqua Minerale, up the hill. Stay within track limits. It's very easy to drift out over those big wide curbs. Improve up nearly 1.5 tenths for Mr. Hannes. So they have the opportunity to move up the starting order here. We'll stay with Mr. Hannes as we come back down the hill. Through turn 16 and then 17. And we blast towards the start-finish straight. DRS comes over as we cross the line. Mr. Hannes goes provisional 4th, 1:14.278. Significant improvement from their previous lap. Over 2 tenths better off from Mr. Hannes. So well done to them. SS7 coming around now. Looking to finish off their lap. You really want to accelerate hard out of that last turn there. Over the start-finish line for SS7, they will have invalidated. So did not improve. Stay in provisional 7th at the moment. Their teammate Mac T is coming close behind them. And Mac T is on their final flying lap. So Mac T literally left it to the last second. Mac T had a great drive in Spain last week. And the strong partnership of SS7 and Mac T, I think, will pay significant dividends. No one able to beat NRG Panzerotto's time just yet. Pete's got an eye on the timing screens for us, but that 1:13.993 is going to look pretty tough to beat. Mac T was slightly up on their previous time, but not purple in Sector 1. Coming through Sector 2 now. Through the chicane, back on the power. Mac T did not go out very wide over that chicane, so quite a nice line through there. Depends how much speed they've had to scrub off to actually make that work. Out of the final couple of main corners here. Pete's predicting second for Mac T at the moment. Definitely are improving. Third for Mac T, 1:14.154. And then Roadrunner still second place. So welcome to the league, Roadrunner. Mixing up with our established drivers here. So Roadrunner takes provisional second. Let's get down to SS7. He's on their way back in. Dorling has not improved on their 1:15.322. So a tough day for Ferrari down there in 10th and 11th at this point. And that is the end of qualifying, folks. So a bit of a mixed up grid, particularly with M1 Righty not being with us this week. So NRG Panzerotto is going to be standing on the front row. We still are waiting, I think, for one of the cars. There we are. It's Ovo on their way back round with a 1:14.831. So a second separates first to 10th, but only about 2/10 separates first to fourth. So it's going to be very, very tight at the front for sure. So well done to all our drivers for making their way through that. Some drivers really loving Imola, others really struggling. Going to keep our eye on the forecast here, folks. On my timing screen, it's saying 20% chance of rain. So we'll keep an eye on that. And Pete said it's come up from 13. So perhaps the chance of rain on its way. NRG Panzerotto is going to start on pole. Roadrunner is going to be on second. Welcome to them, driving for Alfa Romeo on the front row for their first race. Charlie Ark alongside Mac T. Go Ghosty alongside Mr. Hannes. Then comes SS7 with their old teammate Desavesp alongside them, but now racing for Williams. Diaz alongside Obo. Then comes M. Dorling and Timmy 2009. Imolecki right at the back there. Real surprise for me, Imolecki back there, but really struggling with track limits here today. And F1 Lewis didn't come out of qualifying, so I'm hoping they're at least going to get out into the race and we can see what F1 Lewis can bring. It's going to be a huge challenge to get from front to from back to front here in Imola. So remember, our championship leader is not with us this week, M1 Righty. So the field is wide open for other drivers to take advantage and make a claim for their place in the championship. Plenty of points up for grabs today. First 10 finishing positions will get points, barring any penalties after the race is finished. So everything to play for. With 14 drivers out there, if you're out on track at the end of this race, you may well be in the chance of some points. And we'll be hoping for a similar race to what we had in season 1. And the tracks this season, folks, have been chosen based on the races that have given us the most entertainment from seasons 1 and 2. So they are intentional. Last week in Spain and now this week in Imola, because of the racing that it's given us with this league. And we wanted to celebrate that in the last season on the F1 23 game. And then we'll start all again with F1 24. SHS Predestinato, thanks for following us. Really glad to have you here. Okay, folks, we're lined up on the grid, ready to go. 5 lights are on. All right, folks, let's go racing. Round 2, the G-Force Racing Elite League, Season 3. NRG Panzerotto leads us away, but it looks like it was a pretty strong start from Roadrunner there. Indeed, Roadrunner is up alongside as we come into Turn 1 and then Turn 2. Roadrunner has held on to it. Looks as though all our drivers have managed to get their way through. So Roadrunner stills a march on Charlie Ark and NRG Panzerotto, moving up into the lead of this race. Charlie Ark has moved past Panzerotto to assume second place in the running order at the moment. NRG not having the best of starts, dropping back there into third. Then comes Mac T and Mr. Hannes splitting the two Mercedes, SS7 behind them. Then comes DS79, followed by Goat Ghosty, Obo, and then F1 Lewis, who is out on track. Good to see F1 Lewis out on track, who's already made up 4 positions from the start of this race. So F1 Lewis making a cracking start considering they were last on the grid. So up the front here, Roadrunner leads the way. Let's bring up our tyres. Mostly medium tyres. 3 drivers out there on hard. So Mac T, Goat Ghosty and Imolecki. And then M. Dorling selecting the soft tyres to start their race. There's a real battle going on at the back here. Multiple cars trying to find their way through. SS7 looks to be the winner of that so far, but being challenged now by the Aston Martin into Turn 2. SS7 holds the wider line through to Turn 2 and has held on to that new 5th place for them, but they're being really pushed by DS79 in the Aston Martin, and DS79's back through on SS7. That's opening the door for Mr. Hannes. They've got their hands full here, SS7, trying to hold on to that lead, and there's a real gaggle of cars behind DS79, leading them all up the hill here. Mr. Hannes was trying to find a way through, as was Obo behind them. Then comes F1 Lewis, is now up into 9th. Then comes Decifes. M. Dorling just hanging on the back of these folks, these drivers at the moment, on those soft tyres. Got to try and find a way through pretty quickly on those soft tyres before they go off. But maybe they won't be pushed quite so hard, sitting in the queue of traffic here. A real queue of cars here. And a bit of a gap between 4th place Mac T and DS79, so nearly 2.5 seconds splitting those out. So Mac T feeling pretty strong at the moment on those hard tyres, which will go a lot longer into this race than the mediums will. DRS is now enabled on lap 3, so we'll see a lot more overtaking down this start-finish straight into turn 2 with the benefit of DRS. Just the one DRS zone here in Imola, so the one main overtaking opportunity at speed, but there are other overtaking opportunities here, particularly into the Variante Alza chicane. We'll see a lot of drivers get up alongside, particularly those who do better exit out of Aqua Minerale. So we've got a real chain of cars, pretty much from 5th all the way down to 13th, as our front 4 cars stretch away. Let's head back up to the front. Timmy 2009 sadly left us on, I think, their first outing with G-Force Racing, so we're very sorry to lose them so early on. There is a yellow flag in Sector 2 for that reason. Now, I wonder if this will cause a safety car. No, fortunately, no, there's no safety car, so we carry on as we were. Good look at the screen at the moment. Only a 9% chance of rain at this point, but it is looking a bit overcast, as it did in Season 1, when we knew what happened towards the end of that race. SHS Predestinato in the chat cheering on Panzerotto for the win. Yeah, let's see how Panzerotto goes. If they've got the pace they had in Qatar, I would not put it past them. It looks as though there's a real battle there between Charlie Ark. Yes, Charlie Ark has moved up into the lead of this race. So Charlie Ark getting past the Alfa Romeo of Roadrunner. So Charlie Ark resumes the lead of this race. They were on for a victory in Spain, but M1 Righty got their strategy just pretty much spot on. Charlie Ark couldn't make it work in the end, but Charlie was on the podium last week, and they'll be hoping for at least the same this week around. But Roadrunner is mixing it up with the front guys here. NRG Panzerotto is gone with them, but MacT is also there, lurking in the background, just like they did in Spain. And here we come. And I see, I don't know if Spicy was referring to my pronunciation of those corner names, but I would much rather SHS Predestinato pronounce them in their best Italian. It would sound amazing, I am sure. I'm probably murdering the Italian language. So my apologies to anyone from Italy listening in to the stream today, but you hopefully get the idea. So we're back on board with Roadrunner, and they have resumed the lead of this race. That DRS playing a major factor in the ability of these cars to overtake, and I can see this battle at the front of these 4 cars continuing to go on for some laps to come, and the pit stops are going to be particularly significant here. Now we start to see the penalties coming in. 3 seconds for Emelecki. There'll be 3 seconds there for F1 Lewis and 3 seconds for DS79. These are going to really hurt at the end of the race, particularly if these drivers stay so close together. 3 seconds can hurt you enormously, and I think we could see an awful lot more than that. Could easily get the record for the most number of penalties in a single race here in Imola. Going to jump on board with SS7, who's putting DS79 under some significant pressure here as we come into the chicane, riding over those curbs. F1 Lewis, go Ghosty, Decifet, all of our drivers here picking up huge penalties. So this is going to stack up over the next 32 laps and will significantly influence the end of this race. So we're on board with SS7. DRS will come open for us now. We should get past. Diaz really close to the wall as SS7 moves up into 5th, but they need to scamper away from the Aston Martin as soon as they can and get on the back of their teammate Mac T. Charlie Ark has resumed the lead of this race. Looks as though DS now coming under pressure from Obo. Obo trying to find a way down the inside there. Can't quite make it work. Obo now trying to find a way into the hairpin. Not going to happen. Oh, no. If Obo gets a good exit here, the Ferrari may well make it past. They think better of it as we come up the top of the hill. Very fast corner. So DS79 starting to struggle a little bit. 5 laps in on these medium tyres. And the drivers around them starting to take advantage of that. SS7 has got outside the range of DRS and will be hunting down their teammate of Mac T. Oh, and that's a bit wide from Obo out of the chicane there. That will not help them. That will be a track limits warning for sure. That will give Mr. Hannes some hope here. There's the chain of cars behind. Diaz of Obo, Mr. Hannes, F1 Lewis, Ghosty, Imola, and Deceves all do their best to stay with and get past. Pete's telling me get up to the lead here because it's switching again. Roadrunner back in the front of this race. Charlie Ark now in second. NRG Panzerotto in third. All going strong on those medium tyres. Looks like there's a bit of a shake from the helicopter there. As Mac T is then following close behind. The yellow flag in Sector 1. That's Deceves recovering to track. They are moving, so that yellow flag should clear pretty quickly. So we're with NRG Panzerotto as we head down towards Acqua Minerale. Oh, and NRG loses it. The back end of the car getting light. Reset to track, NRG. I'm sorry, NRG. We were on board with you as you did it. That is about a slam dunk, a penalty. For those viewers and subscribers, get your Hannes emotes going. There's a classic one there for us for NRG Panzerotto doing a Hannes, resetting to track, and it's only fair that we now have to enable the detector for NRG Panzerotto. They've joined a quite exclusive club right now of those resetting to track and us catching it live on the stream. When will our drivers learn, folks? When will they learn? But you were here to witness it with us. Absolutely amazing. Oh, Rio and Toby are going to be absolutely gutted they weren't here for that one. Okay, well, we know one thing coming to the FIA at the end of this race. NRG has dropped right back now as a result of that. Mac T moving up into third, and NRG under all sorts of pressure from SS7. They're going to be regretting that mistake for some time to come. As they come up the hill here, Deceves picking up another 3-second time penalty. So keep your eye on those, folks. We will bring the penalties up on the screen before we finish, don't you worry. But we'll let our drivers collect them first. We'll have a bit of a surprise once we show those a little bit further in the race. So SS7 trying to find a way past NRG Panzerotto. Another 3 seconds for Ghosty. So Mac T right now is looking very strong there on hard tyres in third place. They, of course, will be able to switch onto the much faster mediums or softs at the end of this race. And that is going to bode well for them up against Charlie and Roadrunner, who will be likely switching to the hard tyres. So we're with SS7 here. So clearly NRG Panzerotto has pace. SS7 not pushing it at this stage. Very little battery left for SS7 either, so they're quite happy to stick with them. But they do have Obo very close behind SS7 here. Obo building over a second gap now to DS79, who's dropped back, having run in 5th place for a big chunk of the early stages of this race. They've dropped back now to 7th, and then Mr. Hannes following behind. Let's get down a bit further down the field here. There's been quite a battle going on between Deceves, Ghosty, Imola, a very wide Obo, and now Imola coming out there. That's let Ghosty through. So Imola really struggling around Imola here this time. And remember, I think they were third last time out here in Imola. So quite surprised to see them struggling down here. We would expect Imola to go slightly better than that, but really struggling. Now a big old gap back to Desaves and M. Dorling. M. Dorling has been into the pits though, so they're on to 3-lap old medium tyres. So Peter's telling me the lap times at the front of the grid are certainly starting to drop. The fastest lap so far is held by the Red Bull of Charlie Ark with a 1:17.704, but on the last lap Charlie was doing 1:18.6, so pretty much a second slower. So these tyres starting to go off. MACT on those hard tyres fastest a 1:17.9. They're doing a 1:18.9 on their last lap, but pretty much just following behind, conserving those hards. If we get into MACT's cockpit here, we'll see they've got a huge chunk of battery and some hard tyres that will go an awful lot further than the cars in front. The forecast of rain seems to be ticking up a little bit. We're into double figures. We'll keep our eye on that, and we have to do that just because of the experience in Season 1. And Spice is predicting that Panzerotto needs to pit early to take advantage of that undercut, and I think you're absolutely right there, Spicey. I think they've got to find a way to claw back that gap to the front runners, at least be in contention with them. So let's come away from MACT. SS7 is still there with Obo behind. NRG Panzerottos recovering from their spin at Aqua Minerale and the reset to track incident. And you can see, folks, why we don't like reset tracks. SS7 comes down the inside into turn 2 and NRG loses it once again. I guess I should have stayed with NRG to see if they reset one more time. We didn't see it, but there we go. I don't think we'll rub it in for NRG today. So SS7 does inherit 4th place as a result of that. NRG unable to hang on. Pete's telling me Ghosty going very, very wide further back down the track, but SS7 certainly benefiting. That battle with NRG, though, has meant they've dropped a little bit further back from their teammate than perhaps they would want, particularly on those medium tyres, but it does allow the Mercedes team to play a bit of a strategy here. SS7 will be in earlier. They can then see how good that undercut is. And Malecki picking up another 3-second time penalty. Let's bring them up now, folks, and then we'll confirm what happens a bit later on. So we have 3 seconds for Diaz, 6 seconds for Emeleki. Only 6 for Emeleki so far. They've made it up to 7th as well, so well done, Emeleki. 9 seconds for F1 Lewis, 6 seconds for Ghosty, 9 for Desaves, and 3 for M. Dorling. Remember those, folks. Take a screen snap. We're going to come back to those in about 10 laps time and then 32 laps time, and we'll see what that's going to do to the finishing order. Let's go back to our tyres. And Peter suggested position changes, so why not have a look at those? So winners and losers at this stage. Well, winners are most definitely SS7 and Obo up 5, and Emeleki up 6, so perhaps improving, taking advantage of some mistakes by a few other drivers. And also F1 Lewis up 4, but our big losers, NRG Panzerotto down 8, and Ghosty also down 8 as well. But Goat has just pitted, so that's obviously going to have that will play out later on in the race. But Emeleki doing okay actually in 7th. They were struggling for a little while, particularly in qualifying, but not so much now. So let's go back to our tyres because we are coming up on pit windows for the majority of our runners that are on the mediums. Mediums will be going hopefully till about lap 15. Let's come away from SS7 being with them for a while. We're back up the front with Maxi. Follow as we watch Charlie Ark getting down the inside of Roadrunner, getting back into the lead of this race. And so Maxi biding their time, just sitting there waiting. They'll take advantage of a mistake just like they did with NRG Panzerotto. And they're conserving their tyres and their battery all the while. So Maxi still there in 3rd, but Charlie Ark now leads the race. SS7 has broken the DRS to Obo, so Obo has DS79 behind them. Spicy's making a good point here. Watch the undercut between Ghosty and SS7. see where they come out when SS7 has pitted. Goat obviously has an awful lot of penalties to apply at the end, but we'll see how powerful that undercut turns out to be. And I'll just keep an eye on their times here. So Goat is purple already in Sector 1. So those new tyres, as DS79 goes very wide out of the chicane, manages to hang on to it. So well done DS, but that's going to hurt those tyres. And these mediums will really be starting to feel the pain now as we get towards the halfway mark. So the leaders are lapping at around about 1 minute 20 a lap. When you compare, the fastest lap is a 1:17. And Goat is purple now in Sector 2. So this is going to be a strong time from them. They're going to be in the low 1:17s for Goat. Let's get down to Goat as they come round the final corners of their first flying lap on these brand new medium tyres. Be interesting to see how well Goat manages to do on these. I'd be surprised if they get them all the way to the end of the race with any speed. 1:16.287. So that's what those new tyres are going to do as those fuel loads decrease as well. That's more than a second and a half quicker than the fastest lap before that. So our cars can be rapid. And with about 17 laps to go, you can make up your pit stop time pretty quick. Also quite a short pit lane here in Imola. You've got pretty fast entry and a pretty fast exit. So you could make up time pretty quick if you're lapping a second and a half faster than everyone else around you. So good call, Spicy. Let's see what that does to... Well, indeed, we've seen them come out right behind S7. However, SS7 now on some hard tyres. So SS7 looking to go right to the end of this race now on those hard tyres. I can't see... Whilst Goat may well get past SS7, they think they will struggle to hold on to that for a long length of time. We've got another yellow flag in Sector 1. Looks like there was a coming together there. Or was that a Williams? So Maxi and Charlie are coming together. We missed that, folks. So that was... so definitely coming together. Caused the yellow flag in turns 2 and 3. They are both moving. Doesn't look to be damage on Mac T's car there. If we get up to it, Charlie's, maybe both of them committing into turn 2. Looks as though both drivers have largely got away with that. So Charlie retains second, but that's allowed Roadrunner to really get off into the distance, and has meant the gap to Imola is now down to 3.5 seconds. So Imola playing the waiting game here. This race may actually come to them. Yeah, Spicy, you absolutely nailed that prediction. Leapfrogged 6 people, as you say, into 8th place now. They have Goat has got past SS7, so they have moved up into 8th on track. That's going to be much higher. Oh, there's a huge spin there from Decavest, losing it out of at the top of Aqua Minerale. That's a clear safety car. Right, that is very good timing for the hard runners. And the perfect timing for Mac T, who just managed to squeeze into the pits as soon as that came out. Imola has really benefited from that. They are going to come out pretty much in 4th place, I think, here. So Imola really benefiting from the safety car. F1 Lewis also in. Remember, folks, if you pit under the safety car, you lose so much less time. Somewhere in the region of 13 seconds or more it can be saved as a result of pitting under a safety car. So huge saving for our drivers who had yet to pit. So Mac T is a real winner out of that. Onto medium tyres. They're at the halfway distance of the race. Mac T does have a penalty. That's more likely for speeding in the pit lane. So bad timing from Mac T. That might hurt them at the end, but certainly might well promote them to the front of this race. Yeah, thanks David T for confirming that. Speeding in the pit lane for Mac T. They probably did not want that. And these pit lanes do come up on you so ever so quickly. But Goat Ghosty now in 4th here. And Charlie Ark and Roadrunner have got a real dilemma. They should be able to get in and back out again. Will allow Charlie to close up the gap. So Pete's telling me Roadrunner is in. Yeah, and Charlie will have to make the same call. Bear in mind, they'll be going on to, well, I expect, hard tyres here. Let us say we're on board with Charlie as we come into the pits. We see Challenger Roadrunner up ahead indeed. Hard tyres for Charlie and hards for Roadrunner also. So they'll have the fast charging Mac T behind them and Goat Ghosty and Imola. SS7 on hard tyres also, but that will allow all of these gaps to close up. And those drivers who steer clear of penalties right now are looking very strong at this halfway point. We've just started lap 17 as we queue up under the safety car on board with Roadrunner. And then all the other drivers will start to join them at the back of this field. So Imola now up into third. Imola may have played an absolute blinder, recovering from some real struggles earlier, but they've got a big chunk of penalties to consider at the end of this race as we come up behind Charlie Ark. Then comes SS7, followed by Oba, who's now in 5th. Mr. Hannes is there in 6th. Then comes the two Aston Martins of DS79 and F1 Lewis. F1 Lewis on to soft tyres, so I think F1 Lewis is expecting to do probably one more stop, and perhaps if there's another safety car, which is highly likely around here, or indeed rain. Pete, I don't know if you'd spotted this. The forecast has gone up to 32% chance of rain. That's a 20% increase in the last few moments. Rain is coming, folks, I'm going to predict, before the end of this race. If we remember, car standby's back, a bit of nostalgia to season 1. Rain came down with a third of the race left to go. NVRJ Repo stayed out on hard tyres. Everyone else pitted, and they span out. MVR span out at the at Aqua Minerale and gave SS7 the victory. That could happen again here. Our drivers who were part of that race last season will remember it very, very well, and I doubt many will make the same mistake. Imola went on to intermediates in that race. That helped them secure the third spot on the podium and allowed them to make up a huge number of places as a result. So we get another lap under the safety car. We're starting lap 18. Imola has, was saying in my ear, made up 10 positions. So great drive from Imola. And this safety car is helping out these medium runners, those new shod medium runners. They will save these medium tyres from wearing out quite as quick. So it's really playing into the hands of Imola at this point. Roadrunner and Charlie Ark clearly showing some pace here. So Imola will have their work cut out, but they will have the grip, at least in the early stages, to put them under pressure, and that battling between these drivers is going to help everyone else stay very, very close to them. As we said at the start of the show, folks, this it's almost certain to be a good race. It was last time around, and it's proving to be this time. So Mac T has served their penalty, so I'm very grateful to all you guys in the chat for keeping me company and keeping me informed. I obviously don't have Rio or Toby with me this week, so it's just me and Pete. So the fact you guys have spotted that is brilliant. Mac T has served their penalty onto new hard tyres, so they'll be able to take those with pace to the end. Mac T obviously very confident in their driving ability. Safety car is going to be in this lap, so Roadrunner will become that safety car. They are going to lead them away as we come round to the start-finish line. Roadrunner will back them up here, and it will be a charge down into turn 2 in that first chicane. All our drivers trying to judge their braking distances just right on what will be slightly cold tyres now after this restart. When does Roadrunner go? Charlie doing their best to make sure they don't get a jump on them. Roadrunner leaving it to the last minute here, and Roadrunner's off. Charlie's gone with him, and he's dragging everyone with him. So Roadrunner hasn't got the jump on the rest of the field here. Everyone pretty much guessed that about right. So Charlie has gone with Roadrunner, taking a look into turn 2. That's not happening there. So all their other drivers file through as we come through turn 4, down to the next chicane at turns 5 and 6. And then SS7 taking a look down the inside of Imola, and Imola goes wide as a result. And then SS7's trying to find a way past Imola. So we knew Imola had been struggling a little bit around this track during qualifying. The race has kind of come to them and their strategy. But we know SS7 has some pace here, having won in Season 1. And they'll be looking to certainly get on the podium at least here. One of SS7's most favourite tracks in the game. So they'll be looking to do well. But SS7 goes very wide there. We'll be starting to think about track limit warnings. Now under pressure from Obo as a result of that. And Obo on some medium tyres will want to take advantage of that extra grip early on. And SS7 does seem to be struggling as they try and get some heat into those hard tyres. So Roadrunner leads the way, just 3/10 ahead of Charlie Ark. Will there be a move here from Charlie into turn 2? Not this time around. There is a switch over though between F1 Lewis and Obo. So F1 is on those soft tyres, will be lightning quick in these early stages. But F1 goes a little bit wide there, has some track limit penalties already. So that will just be adding to those warnings. But we'll keep an eye on F1's time here because certainly in these early stages, those softs will be super rapid. Maxi gradually trying to make their way up. They're up into 8th now. So Pete's saying in my ear that Maxi has used 2 sets of hards, and he's absolutely right. But he did have that mini pit stop in the middle where he went on to mediums, got the penalty, and then gone back in. So Maxi is on their second sets of hards at this point. So that will take them to the end of the race. And perhaps he's on a tyre compound they're much more happier with. Desaves sadly has had to join us in the Twitch chat rather than out on track. Desaves, tell us about it. That was a horrible moment. We saw it live on the stream. As you hit the wall pretty hard. It's pretty easy to get it wrong out there. But let us know how it was for you. So SS7 has been overtaken now by F1 Lewis. So F1 Lewis using those soft tyres pretty well. They'll do well to hold on to these soft tyres to lap 32. But right now it's putting them on the back of the leading pack. So good drive from F1 Lewis. Desaves tell us that their setup was not the best. Not the best. Well, you were going all right. It just that was a big accident, though. That was a big accident. Made a big wet mess of that Williams for sure. So F1 Lewis here trying to close down our leading runners of Imola, Charlie Ark and Roadrunner, who is in the lead of this race on their debut with G-Force Racing Elite League. Chance of rain, 57%, folks. We're on lap 21 of 32. We've got 11 more laps after this to go. Rain is coming. Will we get rain before the end of this race? It's definitely getting darker. It's going to mix things up right for the end of this race. Do not go anywhere, folks. There's absolutely no idea which way this race is going to go. At the moment, it's going F1 Lewis's way, who's got some real pace on those soft tyres. Has not set the fastest lap yet though. 1:16.287 is still held by Ghosty. So, but F1 Lewis is now on the back of these front 3. SS7 though has gone with them, and Goat is out of battery. So SS7 really sticking with this group, as is Obo. So we're all the drivers pretty much staying within DRS range, down to Goat Ghosty, but then a gap to NRG Panzerotto. Who now has Mr. Hannes on their tail. And NRG picking up another 3-second time penalty. Well, we said we'd do it around about lap 22. Let's have another look at penalties. Okay. So 6 seconds for Imola, 15 seconds for F1 Lewis. Deary me, that will put the F1 Lewis last, I'm afraid. So although they're going well on those soft tyres at the moment, they're going to have to go remarkably well to finish anywhere near the points. No penalties for SS7, Obo, Roadrunner or Mac T. That could pay dividends for these drivers at the end. DS with 3, Ghosty with 6, NRG with 6, Mr. Hannes with 3 and M. Dorling with 6. So if you can stay without a penalty here, you are a real shout of a podium here. Yeah, Spicy saying, no wonder F1 Lewis is on softs. No, I think they have to be just to get it. But they are now starting to drop back as SS7 gets past the Aston Martin of F1 Lewis. So SS7 back into 4th. Mac T is up into 7th, having got past Obo. So Mac T starting to recover. They won't be wanting to pit again, but I think they may have to. 66% chance of rain, folks. It's on its way. We're on lap 23 of 32. Cast your eyes towards the sky. Our drivers are going to have a real battle on their hands just to keep the cars on track towards the end of this race. Let's get rid of the penalties view for the moment. We'll look at tyres. So F1 Lewis 7 lap old soft tyres starting to drop back a little bit. SS7 is trying to make their way back up. The two Aston Martins close together here of F1 Lewis and Diaz. Then Mac T now on the back of Diaz. We'll see if Mac T can find a way past. Mac T is dragging Ghosty with them as we come down through turn 16 and 17 and 18. Little bit wide there from Diaz. So Mac T, are they smelling an opportunity to get past the Aston Martin? Closing rapidly under DRS. Diaz squeezes them to the inside, but it gives them room. And Mac T gets up into 6th place, and they'll be on the back of their teammate SS7 in just a few moments. DS has gone very wide. Pete was telling me, indeed, they're now getting swallowed up by the Ferrari and NRG Panzerotto as we go 3 wide. Oh, into turn 5 here in Imola. So Diaz really struggling here at the moment. They've tried to find a way on the inside. There's contact between NRG Panzerotto, who then goes into the side of Obo. That then pushes Diaz into NRG Panzerotto. Pete's telling me NRG reset to track again. I think NRG is going to be wishing we weren't watching when we come to them. But that I don't think that was NRG Panzerotto's fault, though. Did look as though Diaz stuck their nose up the inside of NRG, and that pushed them into Obo, and then that sent Obo off into the grass, and then all carried on from there. So Obo will not be enjoying today as much as I think they would have hoped, and the Ferraris both towards the back of the grid. So it's not working out for Ferrari today. Let's get back up to the front. F1 Lewis has dropped off massively from the front 3 now. SS7 getting back past F1 Lewis, and Mac T is going with them. So the two Mercedes ganging up on the Aston Martin here. Ooh, wide from big slide from Mac T there. They have held it though, but it's allowed Ghosty to come past, and so Mac T will have to try one more time. Yeah, so a big attempt from Mac T to get past F1 Lewis. They couldn't quite make it work, and that's dropped them back behind Ghosty. Cracking battle here between the two Mercedes and F1 Lewis. Roadrunner still leads the way, folks, on lap 25 of 32. Charlie Ark still in second. Then Memelecki is hanging on in there, but they do have a penalty. Chance of rain 72%. We're on lap 25. I feel like a weather forecaster, just like I did in season 1, as that rain continues to approach us as it gets darker and darker on track. F1 Lewis going very wide, and I see spots of rain on the screen. So the rain is starting. The rain is starting to come down as Goat gets past F1 Lewis. And, I see Goat really hanging on to the back end through turn 18 there. That's given F1 Lewis a bit of a run, and Mac T will fancy another go. Let's get on board with Mac T as we try and find our way round wheel to wheel between the Aston and Mercedes. F1 goes very deep there, gets through on Goat there. The rain is coming down, and it's going to get harder and harder here, folks. Another 3 seconds for Memelecki, who is always struggling for grip on this track. This rain is not going to help them. All right, folks, predict it from here. If you're with me in the Twitch chat, let me know who you think's going to win it. It could go anyway. We're going to have to see how these... we have drivers come in, we see drivers stay out. Roadrunner and Charlie Ark are in the J Repo scenario, out there on hard tyres. Will they try and see out this rain? Will it be too hard? It looks just like light rain at this point in time. Ooh, contact between Goat Ghosty and F1 Lewis. As we come into the chicane here, Goat held on to that, but he really got a bit of a tank slapper on at the top of the hill. Mac T just hanging back from that. We'll see who blinks first with pit stops. Spicy suggesting pit this lap. Now, everyone is staying out so far, so no one braving the pits. Yeah, F1 Lewis is not. Oh no, they dummied it. Oh, now that is perhaps a little bit of a dangerous manoeuvre by F1 Lewis, but everyone's come through that okay. So Ghosty is in. Looked like a bit of a dummy from F1 Lewis into the pit lane, but Ghosty has definitely gone in and onto Inters. So that's Mac T following very closely behind F1 Lewis there. Imola is still hanging on to the back of Charlie Ark and Roadrunner. SS7 5.5 seconds back from there. Then F1 Lewis, who is not within DRS of SS7. The DRS I don't think has been disabled just yet. Mac T very, very close there. Then we drop back a bit to Diaz, Mr. Hannes, and then Obo is recovering somewhat and is onto the back of Mr. Hannes. So we've got Obo here. We'll see what Obo's wet or damp track driving skills are like. Desavest can't wait for Spa, nor can I. My favourite track of all time. But we are very much enjoying Imola, and this rain is getting heavier. Certainly from Obo's perspective, it looks as though that rain is starting to come down. We don't see a lot of dampness on the track, though, at this point. So our driver's able to continue. We do have two drivers into the pits. F1 Lewis, Mac T, Obo and Panzerotto all in. So it's the gamble. When you're this far back, you may as well go for it. Nothing to lose. Yellow flag in Sector 1 for Imola. Pete was telling me. Imola is still going, but as a result has dropped off the back of Charlie Ark, and they have SS7 fast approaching. SS7 will be sitting there and waiting now. They know how to handle this track in the wet and certainly in the damp, but it's not wet enough, I'd say, at the moment for intermediates. Folks, let me know in the chat if you agree or disagree. It doesn't look super wet out on track. Possibly intermediates might help. We'll keep an eye on the lap times for these folks compared to the slick runners, but it is most of our drivers managing to hang on to it so far. Watch the gap between Goat Ghosty and M Dorling, folks. That will tell us if that 15 seconds comes down very, very quickly. Then we will see that Goat is on the right tyres. But it doesn't look as though their times, that gap is decreasing enormously at this point. Time will tell. So it's only still showing light rain on our telemetry. As we've got Charlie looking around the outside of Roadrunner. We're on lap 29 of 32. It could be, it looks as though these drivers are going to take these tyres to the very end. We will stay with this battle at the front because it is going to be for the first ever victory in the GeForce Racing Elite League for one of our drivers here. Is it going to be Charlie Ark for their first ever victory, or will it be Roadrunner for a victory on their debut with GeForce Racing? I think if David T, if they're able to comment in the chat, they'll let me know. But I think there's only one other driver that's got a victory on their debut performance, which would have been, no, it wouldn't have been M1 Righty, so it may have been SHS Predestinato. But Roadrunner could be one of those to make that exclusive band of drivers to win on their debut. We see our drivers really starting to slip around a little bit now. And that gap between Goat Ghosty and M Dorling is starting to decrease, but Goat Ghosty really has to go some to make up 13 and a bit seconds with only another 3 laps to go. Puddles starting to appear, Peter's telling me, and you can see it here, folks, on the main start-finish straight. There really is moisture very visible now on the track. Our drivers will be used to driving in damp conditions on slick tyres. That would have come up many times in practice sessions and in open lobbies and other situations, so it won't be completely alien to them. But Roadrunner is into the pits, so Roadrunner's just all kind of given up, and that is Charlie going to try an MVRJ repo? Are they going to be able to keep it on the track? If they do manage this, Charlie has got driver of the day nailed on. But if it's enough for SS7 and Roadrunner, that really tells you how much more slippery this is becoming. Imola has stayed out. They've probably got nothing to lose given the penalties. And let's bring those up again for us as we come right to the very end. 9 seconds for Imola, 3 seconds for Mr. Hannes, who's currently in a podium position. And then comes M. Dorling. They might as well hang on up there. And then there was our leader, Roadrunner. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. That's what we really wouldn't want, I think, for some. That yellow flag has cleared. No, there's now a yellow flag in Sector 2. A lot of our drivers now really struggling in these wet conditions. So Charlie hanging on for a couple more laps. There's still 2 laps to go. NRG has sadly left us. So NRG DNFing there along with Desaves and Timmy. DRS disabled. That tells you, folks, that even race control think it's too wet. And that's what our intermediate runners were gambling on. But Imola at the moment is looking in pretty good shape, as is Mr. Hannes, as is M. Dorling. Although Roadrunner has closed on to the back of M. Dorling. So that gap, which would have been pretty significant, about 10-12 seconds when they pitted, and now has so much more grip than the Ferrari. So an easy pass for Roadrunner past the Ferrari of M. Dorling, moving up into 4th. But they've got a long way to go with only 1.5 laps of this race left for Charlie Ark to take victory. Bold move by Roadrunner, and perhaps if that's what they were feeling on track, you've got to do it. But it was a real risk if Charlie didn't take that opportunity. But Charlie's now got to close down on Mr. Hannes. We've got 3.5 seconds of a gap to make up for the Alfa Romeo driver. Then it's another 8 seconds up the road to Imola. So we're keeping an eye on where Charlie Ark is on track and hoping that they do not spin. But as you can see, Mr. Hannes really struggling now. So Roadrunner making up time hand over fist on the Red Bull of Mr. Hannes. But it's a good drive for Mr. Hannes at this point. SS7 picks up a 3-second time penalty. Pushing pretty hard, and see how much of a tighter line Roadrunner could take there. Gets easily past the Red Bull and moves up into 3rd. Now an 11-second gap to Imola. And remember, Imola has a 9-second penalty. So that is going to disappear. Imola is not going to finish in 2nd at this rate, but they could still finish in 3rd. Dave is pretty convinced that Charlie has the win, and that we've got to give Charlie the honour of riding on board with them for these last few laps and see how they do at holding on to their car in these final laps, or final corners I should say, of this race. This is a pretty epic drive from Charlie. They've had their work cut out with Roadrunner up front. I'm hesitating to praise Charlie too much because I do not want to give them the commentator's curse, which I am known to do from time to time. Charlie Ark hanging on here as they've got just 2 more main corners to navigate. Charlie tiptoeing round these final corners. Hold it together, Charlie. DS has left us. Charlie is going to come over the line to win the Imola Grand Prix. Hold on to it, Charlie. Get over the line first. They've done it. Charlie has won the Imola Grand Prix for Red Bull on their first ever victory. Imola crosses in 2nd, but Imola is coming behind them. Roadrunner takes 2nd. So Roadrunner does come through to take 2nd place. Imola takes 3rd. Mr. Hannes takes 4th. Brilliant drive for Imola and Mr. Hannes today. I think we could use the Hannes alert emote for that as well. Brilliant drive from Hannes to come home in 4th. Well, we give you excellent racing here on the GeForce Racing Elite League, and this week is absolutely no exception to that at all. See Charlie in the Twitch chat. Congratulations, Charlie. Brilliant drive. Pete, you tell me in my ear who your driver of the day is. It's Charlie Ark for Pete. It's Charlie Ark for me as well. Charlie, brilliant drive. And to hang on to those hard tyres in the wet at the end is something that we've seen other good drivers not be able to do. Brilliant drive from you, and rightly deserving your trophy on the top step, and 25 points for you and Red Bull. It's been a good day for Red Bull as well, with Mr. Hannes picking up some big points. I think finishing in 4th. We'll check the finishing standings in just a moment. It was ever eventful with NRG Panzerotto resetting to track when we caught them live on stream. So there's another one to go in the GFR scrapbook for sure. So Charlie Ark is our victory for Red Bull, their maiden victory with the G-Force Racing Elite League. Congratulations, Charlie. We knew that win was coming eventually, and you got it spot on today. Roadrunner, on their debut with G-Force Racing Elite League, takes 2nd. Well done, Roadrunner. Welcome to the league. We look forward to you racing next week and the future weeks. Imola, after real struggles in qualifying, finishes in 3rd, just as they did in Season 1, starting 13th on the grid, finishing in 3rd. Congratulations, Imola. Mr. Hannes takes 4th for Red Bull. Then comes Mac T and SS7 for Mercedes. Goat Ghosty in 7th, and then Obo and M. Dorling in 9th, 8th and 9th respectively for Ferrari. And then F1 Lewis is our last point scorer for today. Wow, what an incredible race. I'm going to be looking forward to watching the replay of that, just so I can remind myself what went on. If you've been with me throughout that whole stream, thank you ever so much for being with us, as we've hopefully given you some pretty fantastic entertainment once again. And we'll be doing it all again next week. We'll take another look at the standings. We'll have extra points to add to those, both for the drivers and for the constructors. And next week we are going to be at my favourite track on the F1 calendar, Spa in Belgium. It's also a sprint race, so we're going to be starting a little bit earlier. 7:45 p.m. UK time will be live with qualifying, and we will probably start the stream about 7:30 p.m. I want, if Rio's back with me next week and Toby, we do want to recap not just on Spain but also that incredible race here today. Hey, see Roadrunner in the chat. Welcome to M1 Racing and welcome to the G-Force Racing League. Brilliant drive. So Spa next week with a sprint race on the 17th of April. Come and join us for that. You've seen what happens here today. We'll get 2 of those races next week, the sprint and the feature race. Lot to look forward to. And then Hungary comes quick and fast after that on the 24th of April. Lots of great races to come. If you've enjoyed being with us here on M1 Racing, don't forget to follow us. My thanks to everyone who subscribes to the channel. It means a great deal. If you don't wish to subscribe, please don't feel as though you have to. I put the ads up only when you start the stream, and then you get the ones that come up around your display. We do not have any full screen ads during our stream at all. I do not want to interrupt the racing. But if you want to support the channel, please do. Thank you, F1, for following us. Really good to have you here. Bit of a interesting strategy on the softs. It nearly worked out, but not quite for you today. But you did at least, I think, pick up a point. And welcome to the league. Good to have you out on track for the very first time. But if you'd like to subscribe, it's an ad-free experience, and you get to use our very special emotes. The most recent of which is our Hannes reset to track, which I'll just put in there for you now. And we had a good cause to use it today, as we did the on-screen alert also. So maybe we'll be using that a little bit more in races to come. Yeah, F1 Lewis commenting about the track limits. It was a bit of a battle. Look, I've just started the replay from last time out in Season 1, and you can see exactly the same thing happen. We're on lap 31 of 32. We're following with MVR J Repo, and they'd stayed out on their hard tyres. This is why, Charlie, I thought your drive was excellent. MVR J Repo is a top quality driver, but you will see in a moment what can happen in the slightest mistake in the wet. MVR was 67 seconds ahead of SS7 on lap 31. And we thought NVRJ Repo's got this nailed on. Then we navigated back down to other drivers on the field. We're with Embeleki here, who came through to finish 3rd. They were on to those intermediate tyres, doing a bit of a road runner, catching up and overtaking people who had stayed out. And then all of a sudden, there's this yellow flag in Sector 2, and there is MVRJ Repo going very, very slowly. And SS7 says, thank you very much. And round they go into the lead of the race. And they come over to take victory. So MVRJ Repo was really struggling for grip at this stage. SS7 on those medium tyres would just had a little bit more heat in them. And SS7 comes home to win. We felt for MVRJ Repo, but Charlie Uck did not make that mistake today. So congratulations, Charlie. Brilliant drive. All right, folks, I'm going to leave it there for this week. Thanks ever so much for being with us, as always, on M1 Racing. Your support means a lot. Thanks for all the stuff in the chat this week. Brilliant. For helping me, particularly in the absence of Rio and Toby. I'm hoping they'll be back next week. But my huge thanks for Pete, because he does allow me to see other things going on, which I can't bring you live on stream. To all our drivers, brilliant drive today. A great race, and we look forward to. We've got another eight races to go, folks. If they're all like that, Barcelona was great, Imola was great. Bring on Spa next week. To all of you for watching and for being here on M1 Racing, thank you ever so much. We'll see you all again next week. Oh, I should say, actually, before I go, I must forget this. Ironman. We are back with Ironman this Sunday. I forget because we normally have a 2-week break between each one. But we had some issues a couple of weeks ago. So we are actually back for Ironman. I'll be streaming my point of view live here on M1 Racing. I know a number of our other drivers also stream. So if you want to come and get involved in the Ironman, that's a 100% race on Sunday. That does start at 8 p.m. UK time. We have no idea where we're racing, although David has got his fingers crossed for Hungary. We don't know yet where we're going to be. We only find out an hour before. I'll be out on track. Rio may well be out on track. A number of our drivers you see here today will be racing in that, but we have to see what our stamina is like over a 100% race. I survived Mexico and got some points. We'll see if we can do something slightly better this weekend on this Sunday. So you can come join us 8 p.m. Sunday or 7:45 p.m. Next Wednesday for round 3 of GeForce Racing Elite League from Spa. Until then, stay safe, have a great week, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now. Now we've got 3 cars wide. Mac T's trying to get down the inside of him, Dorling. They're going to do it. Great switch back from him, one there. All right, folks, let's go racing.